one and all for
Go ahead, Tom.
thank you one and all for attending this evening. As I stand, I'd like to render hand salute to our God and our country. And if you don't have a flag locally or at home, just I'll render it for all of us. So hand salute. 2. Okay, I'd like to start this evening off by welcoming you and get right to the middle of it. This is a level 1 course of VA&R. First thing everyone asks is, what is VA&R? VA&R is Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation. And as denoted by our officer guide, it's a brief, it gives a brief description in all of our American Legion officer's guide. And that is stated, the brief overview. This committee assists veterans in pursuing claims, understanding their rights, and obtaining their benefits. Members also visit veterans who are sick, disabled, or residing in assisted living facilities and provide comfort to members, families in illness and bereavement. So that is our national body that writes that. So it's kind of lean. As our national VA&R chairman, Ralph Bozzella, likes to state, the American Legion work in VA&R is continual. It's a daily dedicated effort. And I chime in on that and I convey that, yes, it is a commitment. And those of you here have displayed that and appreciate for you being here. It's a further display of our duty to other veterans and both men and women veterans, their family and communities. And for some, it is truly an obligation of faith. So I believe that it's our Blue Cap members who are the foundation and drivers of our efforts here in Colorado. And I'm pleased that we have great peer-to-peer support. And our service is outstanding, you know, for those that are engaged in our VA&R network. So let's begin. It begins with the VA&R. How do you get involved? Getting involved with VA&R is quite simply, it begins with you, the member. The member is the focal point. Most veterans are very comfortable with that peer-to-peer support, and they will seek out another veteran, you know, in the time of need, you know, whether it's through medical services or support or mental health issues. Veterans of the veteran community, I've, you know, through experience, they will seek out another veteran to, you know, get what they need. So that being said, how do you participate and what are your assets? And I've written them on the board. Members, probably the primary asset a member has is the ability, is your communication and your ability to communicate with other veterans. And within that, on that daily, you know, your daily activities, and you come across another veteran that's in need, you have to watch, you know, there's a bit of a precaution. There's a bit of safety and boundaries, you know, within VA&R. That is to protect the veteran and yourself. So you have to be quite cautious when you're dealing with others. And what I mean by that is that sometimes we get a little ahead of ourselves and we really, we have to watch and identify if you have to trust but verify. If there's a veteran that you come across, you have to be ensured that he's truly legit, and most of us know that with dealing with members. But sometimes you come across, in this day and age, you come across people that play it off and that scam, and you have to be very careful with that. So that is important, to watch your boundaries, know what you're getting into. If there's an issue, you know, you always have your post commander and your post adjutant and your fellow members that you can talk to and try to, you know, get a feel for what's the best approach. Another asset is that in identifying your services and support in your local communities. Those resources are paramount to what you do in VA&R. It is you that identify an individual and other members that are in need. may need, medical attention or mental health support. And that's why the Blue Cap member is a key to what we do. Also, you come across members or an individual that's a veteran and he's hesitant or resistant or going through various issues. Let's say a critical issue that we're worried about a fellow veteran and you haven't seen him in some time. So we work well, or we make it a point to work well with local law enforcement and first responders. In that manner, we can ask them for a courtesy check. And in most communities here in Colorado, we have been successful. Legion members have been successful in identifying, to know their resources, know their contacts. And in a situation where a veteran is going through a time and you can't quite, hadn't seen him in some time, the law enforcement is most excellent in helping us with those courtesy checks. Am I going too fast, or is there any questions so far?
You're doing fine.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
I appreciate that. So someone asked me the other day, how do I get involved in VA&R? And it starts by your post activities, by your post meetings, to give an interest, to express an interest to your post commander and your post adjutant, and let them know, I'm interested in VA&R. I'm interested in working and serving veterans. I just wanted, that is a first for your local post and your local members. That's the first step. And from there, you go ahead and get with other members at the behest of your commander and your adjutant, and you establish meetings, establish good contacts, establish, number one, your biggest asset is communication, is communicating with others. That's our biggest asset. Number two is the network. Several years ago, National Commander Bill Oxford came out and pushed the buddy check. Well, buddy check wasn't designed so we can go out and bother members concerning paying their membership dues. Buddy check was designed so we can go out and actually show how much we care for our fellow members and fellow veterans. And that necessarily doesn't have to be a Legion member. It can be just a veteran in the community that and seats for some time, or they're under duress or ill, or whatever the situation might be. And it gives an opportunity to go out there and do a buddy check. So that's the first thing that a post can promote that buddy check. Second, you can get with your adjutant and get a roster of your post members and work through those post checks, those buddy checks with your post members. That's a good way to start. And then convey to your post membership that if there's anyone in need of assistance, please identify them and report it back to either you or the commander or the post adjutant or one of your post officers. And that's and that's our outreach. That's our network. The post department, if there is a glitch and there always is, there's an issue that is transpiring, a critical issue, an issue concerning claims, we ask that you can contact the service office Monday through Friday, and their number, of course, you might have it, but their number is 303-914-5585, 303-914-5585. Will Davis is our department service officer now. Dean has retired, and our administrative secretary is Sherry. Now, with yearly, on the average, they bring in well over, even last year during the COVID, when that became prevalent in 2020, they still brought in well over $1.5 million worth of claims to Colorado veterans. And that was, it was lean, but normally they're running between $2 and $4 million a year in processing claims and returning resources and pensions back to our fellow Colorado veterans.
Hey, Tom.
But go ahead.
I don't mean to
Yes.
interrupt you, but we have a question for you from Dennis.
Yes, go ahead.
Could you repeat Will Davis's phone number again, please?
Yes, sir, absolutely. His number is 303 914 5585. Good evening, Dennis. Good to see you.
No, glad to be here. Another day in paradise.
All right. So that being said, we try to VA&R. The American Legion is a community organization. That's why it's prevalent. It's important that the blue caps are the drivers. They're the foundation. And within that community, each county here in Colorado, the 64 counties they have county service officers mandated by Colorado Revised Statute 26 that provides for each county to support a service office and a designated service officer. So when you come across someone in your local county that they want to file a claim and you can't get a hold of Will, or if you choose not to get a hold of Will, because we like to ask the post to go to their local VSO, Veteran Service Officer in each county, because first of all, it's good to have someone local that you can have that peer-to-peer support, that immediate contact, and that way you can have a follow-up or a contact. But it's hard to get over to see Will at the regional office. Although we are working on that with teleclaim, just like we're having this training tonight. Go ahead, Dennis.
I have a point, and this came up, is that once you start with a claim through one service officer, whether it's Will Davis, VFW, or you go through the county, that you have to continue with that service officer until the end of that claim. Is that correct?
It's preferable. It depends on the situation. If there hasn't been a determinant, if you haven't received a letter back from the VA, you can actually change your POA. Okay, so to first establish a claim with a service officer, you establish a POA. And normally we establish a POA through will, power of attorney, through the American Legion. But if you choose to go through a county service officer, it's CVA. Sometimes the other day we had a situation with a veteran that's an American Legion member, but it was the initial stage of his claim. So I asked Jay Scott to expedite his claim, and Jay Scott actually changed his POA to the CVA, which is a Colorado Veterans Council. Go ahead, Dennis.
The other question is I had Dean Casey put through my claim.
Okay.
And he was the POA. Now that he's retired, does it automatically roll over to Will Davis?
Will Davis will be, yes, it automatically roll over. Once you have established a claim to the American Legion, it remains with American Legion. You know, through attrition or people moving on like Dean or retiring, we'll keep on, you know, going up. The most important thing to anything involving claims, I can walk into a county service office and I can find out how well they're doing their job. First thing I ask is, do you have a roster of all your claimants? Who are you helping? So if they can provide me a roster, a 30-day roster, a 60-day roster, or a 90-day roster, I can tell you how well they're doing a follow-up. And doing a follow-up as a veteran service officer is critical. But that's another avenue, and that's another level of this VA&R course. But I hope that makes sense, Dennis.
Yeah, you know, there's an issue here that I find with the Brighton Post, because the city of Brighton is in two counties, both Weld and Adams County. And we have some of our members that are dealing with the Weld County service officer. Some members are dealing with Will Davis, and some members are dealing with the Adams County service officer. Just saying that other posts may be in the same position where people are using different service officers for their claims.
Yes, that does happen frequently. A lot of times, if there is a personality conflict or a veteran doesn't feel that he's being treated fairly, you know, he'll move his claim somewhere else, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of like being a Legion member. If you're having a problem in one post, you know, you can always go to another post. That's a beautiful thing of choice. I think what the American Legion provides is an alternate resource to the county service officers. So that's what we work hard on. We're not in competition with the state. We're providing, or we're trying to provide an alternate resource for a claimant, for a veteran claimant. Is that kind of clear as mud, Dennis, or?
Yeah, you know, you brought up another issue. There is a veteran within our post. He is having issues with his physician at the VA. Okay, and he doesn't like him, and he's wondering how to get that changed. So that's another issue, I guess.
Well, let's regress a little bit. VA&R consists of Veterans Administration and Rehabilitation. There's 3 areas within the VA. Veterans Benefits Administration, where you go to file a claim for a pension or other issues that the nexus or the problems that you developed during your period of service. Number 2 is the Veteran Health Administration. And then, of course, number 3 is the cemetery. As far as the Veteran Health Administration, you have a right as a veteran to request another provider. So if he's having an issue with a provider, what you normally do is you ask to see whether it's a clinic or whether you go to RMR or whether you visit Cheyenne. You can always ask for, you know, I want to change a provider. I'm not comfortable with this one. And you could do it with all courtesy and respect, and they have to accommodate you. And if you have any issues, please let me know. Let our service office.
Okay, you know, I'll bring this up at the next meeting, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dennis. Also with VA&R, we do have a Veterans Assistance Fund that helps veterans that are single. We have a Children's Youth Fund that helps families of veterans, and that is at the Department Service Office. You normally want to go through your post to make that application. That would be my suggestion. If you keep everything within the post, those resources and that information, you'll always have that continuity. And we try to keep our continuity in the posts and in our local communities. So the department headquarters number is 303-366-5202-5201. The reason I give you that, 303-366-5201. The reason I give you that number is in the event that you're having an issue processing an application, National has a TFA fund for like the Boulder County fire. There was numerous veterans that we said we got applications out to because they could apply for I believe up to $3,000 as long as they had the receipts for reimbursement. And also the post 111 out of Louisville could apply for the $10,000 reimbursement for their assistance in that fire. I'm sure the commander has an update on that, Commander Chip Casal, but that's for further information. If we can continue, what makes it work, the peer-to-peer support for veterans, is our military experiences. All of us have faced issues within the military, so we have a pretty good handle on how to work with and accommodate fellow veterans. And therefore, we work together with other veterans in our VA&R effort to establish a network. And that's what the state has. That's what I am chairman of, is the department VA&R committee. And what we have is a network of all from the 14 districts, and not quite to all of the 160 posts, but a substantial number of posts that people, if there's an issue, for instance, if there's an issue in Rangeley, we can work to resolve that. We have service officers in that area, or people, you know, depending on the need and the resource. I'll give an example. We had a veteran in Hugo, Colorado that needed a motorized wheelchair. So our VA&R network reached out, and within half a day, we found the veteran a motorized wheelchair. And that came courtesy of Michael McPherson out of Post 111, Louisville. So our network does work, and we're pretty good at it. So, you know, I'll give you my number now, 719-469-2119. 719-469-2119. So if there's any questions or issues, straight up, just let me know, call me. Just, you know, if I don't answer, just leave a message and I will get back to you. Are there any questions so far?
Just real quick, Tom, before you move on, if you guys need those numbers and stuff, I'm placing it in the chat off to the side of the viewing screens. The phone numbers for people and Will Davis, as well as department headquarters. That's
Thank
all.
you, and thank you for your work on this training. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we move on? Okay, this is a level 1 course. So like I say, the VA&R starts with a member, and it's your communication with your members of the post or veterans of your community to make that outreach and bring them, help them with their needs concerning medical or benefit issues. And we're here to help. I'm here to help. And so is the department service officers, as well as the department commander and all his junior vices and other officers and headquarters, of course. So that concludes that portion. I'd like to go now, Annette, if you would post the worksheets that I have, just to give an example. We'll do a working example of VA&R, kind of how to navigate things.
Can everyone see this?
Roger that.
Yeah, I can see it.
Thank you.
What our department commander, Chip Casal, has tasked me with this year as VA&R is to make outreach and to, we're really having an issue in Colorado with veteran suicides. The numbers of demography, the demographics currently are about 26 suicides per day. So the commander has tasked us to improve our network, our VA&R services. And in front of you is a Veterans Guide to Mental Health Services at VA Eastern Colorado Healthcare System. And note that we do, I apologize, we don't have Cheyenne. Northern Colorado uses the Cheyenne VA healthcare system, and Western Colorado uses our Grand Junction facility, as well as the people in the southern reaches of our state. Actually, they go to, a lot of them utilize the Albuquerque VA, which is out of VISN 22. We are out of VISN 19, the Rocky Mountain region, and this is just a flow chart, and there's actually 4 sheets. It gives you a basic navigational tool. So the Veterans Crisis Line, if there's a veteran in need, if you choose not to call someone in your local area, it gives that 800 number right here, and also one for domestic violence. But starting off is the urgent or crisis mental health support. That is part of that.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
When Cory Gardner was senator, he sponsored a bill and it was passed and signed by the president at the time. And it was that instead of doing this crisis line for suicide preventions, there was a 3-digit number. I don't know if it was it can't be 911, maybe it was 811. Have you heard anything about that? Because once the bill was passed, then the the Federal Communications Commission was supposed to make sure that it got implemented.
Yes, the implementation date, implementation begins in I believe in July of this year, of 2022.
Okay,
So it'll be implemented. And you know the number better than I have it in my notes. I think it is not, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say 711. It's something like that. It is a
Yeah, it was a 3-digit number to make it easier if you're going through a suicide crisis than going through this 800 number. Okay. Yeah, by the time you go through the 800 number and go through the menu, you got your safe open and the gun out.
Well, that is true to a degree, but there's some sidebar to that. Most veterans that are already, I can understand the frustration, because we're all frustrated with being put on a leave a message, and the VA is notorious for that. So yes, maybe that will make a difference. Hopefully it will. I further believe that our veterans peer-to-peer and our outreach can make a difference if we just get out there and a little bit better than we have. And I think it'll offset a lot of this crisis. So that is, go ahead.
Real quick, Tom, that number, it's going to be a 988 number.
988, okay.
Yep. And it's supposed to come up, it's passed through the House on Monday. So we should be, it should be getting ready.
You're looking to, is that on your reference that they post to implement by July of 2022? That's the last I had heard.
I'm looking through it right now, but where you can get the information at, is it Gardner's Great no, that's not it. Sorry.
Well, we'll find out. And when we find out, we'll get it out. We'll distribute that to our post.
And I will post the information in the chat area associated with the Zoom link.
Hey, Tom, can I interrupt for a second?
Absolutely.
I'm sort of a hobbyist in mathematics and operations research. A few minutes ago, you mentioned 27 or 26 per day.
Yes, 26 per day, according to the latest demography I've received from the state. The latest references from the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs.
Okay. I have a question, or more of an inquiry on that particular issue. Who is actually recognizing we have a privacy policy within most of our community organizations like churches and police forces and law enforcement? They cannot release the names. But who is actually ramrodding, if you understand what I'm saying, the level of high suicide rates in the state of Colorado?
Whereas it's nationwide, here in Colorado, it's at the behest of the governor's office, and the governor's has orchestrated or tasked the Department of Veterans Military Affairs General, the TAG, the Adjutant General Cleveland, to oversight that directive. That's here in Colorado. So it further goes down to the VSOs, the county VSOs would be, and they would be part of the responsibility parties in a local county.
Yeah, I guess what I'm driving at is one is too many. I would welcome 0 across the board, but when you say 26 on a daily basis, that is a very serious issue. And the American Legion, I recognize, is supporting the program 100%, but outside of the American Legion, how is the community, if you know, I know it's a broad question, and I've been in touch with some veterans and tried to guide them accordingly, but how is the community at large throughout the state of Colorado enabling itself in order to maybe provide some serious assistance in this area? If you know the answer.
Yes, I do. And once again, I'll get back to our department commander, Chip Casal, has tasked us to improve our services, our coordination with our American Legion Network. That's a given. The national commander has stated no veteran left behind. That's a national American Legion. We have a department of American Legion. Now the commander, the governor has orchestrated the counties, to work through there's various programs that we're working on. I'll give you an example here in the lower end of the 7 or 8 counties that I'm working with on the first go out. We're starting a new program, a Southeast Mental Health Group, and that program is to offset this, to offset the crisis. I was really impressed with Dr. Carica. He's CEO of this organization, JC Carica, and I was impressed. And we had members of the different community members, including federal and state and the VA. He stated that no veteran should have to be worried about payment in the initial crisis, which I agree, and I have never heard anybody state that. And even though a veteran might be facing mental health issues, I think that weighs heavily, like a lot of things do, on a veteran that's contemplating hurting himself or has mental health. So what we're trying to do, and we're orchestrating this on the southern reaches of Colorado, we're implementing this mental health group along with our community partners, and that is the various counties. So what county do you live in? Do you reside in, sir? Pardon me?
Pueblo County, but I cover a large area such as El Paso and Fremont and so forth. I'm a roamer, and on a personal level, I do a lot of outside activity. But my main concern, and I recognize I don't want to focus attention on the dollar sign. I primarily want to focus attention, and perhaps I can be some assistance in somewhere. You mentioned some folks. If you could email me their names and phone numbers in the community areas that are doing some assistance. But my primary question goes like this: what impact are we having for preventive maintenance? As opposed to responding to a crisis, instead of it taking action ahead of time and identifying individuals who perhaps need attention.
Well, here's a task and the opportunity we have as a member of the Legion and our posts. We can, if we go out and start identifying or doing our buddy checks with our fellow veterans, and then ask them to provide us with outreach on other veterans that they know of. That's how it begins. So if you're in Pueblo County, for example, I was dealing with a gentleman named Jaron. He come up to me and say, I'm having issues. And so we work to resolve them. And the first step in anything with mental health is we have to listen to him. That's the biggest thing, as you well know, is listen to the veteran. What are the issues he's facing? And you kind of get a grip on that. Then you can identify where you can go. And probably the most important thing for any Legion member is to know the resources available in their community, in their own community. So therefore, you're in Pueblo County or El Paso County or Custer County. It seems that you're well-versed in, you get out and visit people, as I do. And so what you ask everybody to help and keep us informed. That's what I do on a daily basis, ask veterans, hey, if you hear of somebody having a difficulty, whether it be with mental health or claims or whatever the situation might be, please let us know. And that's the importance of our membership in the American Legion. We have that camaraderie and continuity, and then we have that outreach. Because I'm more comfortable to call my members that I know of. And they're the ones that share, like you're saying, how do we identify veterans in the community? It's normally we identify them because of through our membership. Not everyone's a Legion member, but we can identify them, a great many of them, because of the members of our American Legion. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, Tom, it does, and I can support what you're saying 100%. Let me cite something. In the last 2 months, approximately end of November or early December, I happened to be at a senior citizen, what should I call it, preventive health maintenance program downtown in Pueblo. And it was staffed by various vendors, et cetera, for drugs and other things, support. But when I approached one of the medical people who was in attendance, I said, I recognize that our veterans' healthcare is primary responsibility. And why is the nationally the suicide rate very high? And during my visit to the expose, or event that was going on, I ran across 6 veterans who were not members of VFW or American Legion. And based on my personal military experience, I kind of sat down with them verbally and chatted with them. And they indicated that on an individual basis, no connection to each other, that they were sadly disappointed with the effort that was being done by the nation in order to take care of our veterans' health problems, to include suicide.
Well, to answer that, here's the thing that we can do as members. We can go out in our communities and like you're saying, identify, we'd write their name down. One of the most important tools that I have is a pen and a notepad, because I'm going to write if you're having an issue or you're having some kind of problem, I'm going to write your name down. I'm going to try to get in contact with you and ask permission to get back in contact.
Is that an invasion?
And then work to identify the resources you may need. And that has to come from the community itself. Everyone's looking to national for the answers. Well, we're all self-reliant as veterans, and most veterans are. They take care of themselves. They pursue their own health care. And unfortunately, those that are committing suicide, the great majority of them have not even enrolled into the VA for mental health services. So that is one of the dilemmas. So we work to help them become enrolled. Many times, more often than not, I'm talking to a veteran and he's not enrolled, but he has mental health issues. And so I advocate for him to get enrolled, because I am a layman at best and he needs professional help. So that's the avenue I take. Now, there in your community, what's available in Pueblo County? Those are the things we need to know. It's called self-reliance.
We have one.
So I encourage every member to know that you have to know your resources and to know your contacts. We can depend on the national to do it, but they ain't never going to get done. So that's what the commander's tasked us with, is develop our own resources and our network within our communities and work with, like I'm working here in Southeast Colorado with Southeast Mental Health Group, to develop another apparatus, another resource for those veterans. And pretty soon we'll be moving into to Pueblo County, and then to the San Luis Valley, and then over to the Four Corners region. So we're working on it. It takes a veteran to make it happen, as you well know.
Yeah,
we don't wait for a
I
politician.
fully understand what you're saying. I support you 100%. Let me know when you start transmitting or transferring your efforts up here to Pueblo County. I guess what I'm looking for, and I don't think the answer is readily available, is within our own community of the American Legion. I would hope that we can provide 100% maximum support, except when I run across veterans and they are not young veterans, and they did not discuss the inner actions of suicide, but they were talking about the medical support, and asked the question, why was it nationally known to them that the suicide rate was so high in the American Legion and VFW nationally? So
Okay, well, I don't mean to
question with a very complicated issue.
Okay, I understood. And we get back to, this is a level 1 course. A level 2 and 3 course of VA&R is different. We can start explaining how the American Legion legislates and advocates nationally to get things done or make changes. And the American Legion is a 501c19 that we can use our funding to lobby Congress, and we do. So our national VA&R chairman, Rob Bozzella, out of Longmont 32, and our department commander had a sit-down meeting recently with the director, Michael Kilmer of RMR, VA Eastern Colorado Healthcare System. And so what they were working on, or listening to, or partaking, they were discussing issues, where the American Legion can go to help legislate some of this information. So I would suggest that Annette will get out further training. We'll have a level 2 with VA&R and a level 3, and we'll get you where you need to go. But you have my phone number, 719-469-2119. If there's an immediate need, what we can all do locally, that's where we have to begin. It all begins with us at the local level.
And Tom, I think that's important because where we're talking about this being the level 1 training, and to answer John's question, it all starts with me. I need to know what the resources are in my community. So when I have a gentleman or a lady come in and talk to me about what this gentleman discussed with you, you can then, I don't want to rattle off the different networkings and organizations and places that we are working on. And that's where we can take the responsibility to improve the mental health. So as we take this program that's going on in San Luis Valley and we're expanding it throughout Colorado, we're all doing our own homework in advance to be able to share that. So as the expansion gets moving, we've already got a lot of those questions that you're asking in place.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Absolutely. You've hit it on the head. And like I say, let me reiterate, the commander has tasked us to improve our efforts, and that's what we intend to do. And hopefully by department convention, we can give you a report on some successes from the southern end of the state in implementation of this mental health resources and also with the teleclaim.
I'm looking forward to being there.
Yeah, it ought to be pretty good. If we will, the commander is working diligently on a Department of Health. So this is a basic Veterans Guideline of Mental Health, and you can go through it at your own leisure. Further, giving you some tips on mental health treatment programs within the VA system, health psychology, and the different, how to improve your own quality of life and those of your fellow veterans, families, etc. Support for homelessness and justice involvement. So we have a whole packet that's put out, and call me if you need one. We can get out to you. It gives you contact numbers for all the facilities within Eastern Healthcare System, Eastern Colorado VA, Eastern Colorado Healthcare System. Also to include RMR, which is our Denver facility.
Can you do a PDF on that?
Yes, we can. We send them, actually, each DEC or district commander will have this in the next mail out. And then we'll ask them to print one, with print the members off a copy, or call me directly and let me know with your email, and I'll send you what I have, a PDF file.
My email is well known. It's Veterans Brigade, but
just email me or call me with a text or leave me a text of your email, and I'll get it out for you. Tell me your need and how I can help.
I'll do that, and that would be appreciated.
Absolutely. So this is the end of level 1 course. Is there any other questions, folks?
When is level 2?
We're working on that. It should be at the discretion of the commander and the trainer. So I'm gracious to the commander and the trainer for letting me be on today. And thank you all for coming on board.
Hey, Tom, watch that snow out there where you live.
Pardon me?
I said, watch the snow out there where you live.
I don't have any yet.
Well,
It's
you
coming.
will.
It's coming.
It's probably coming.
Send it
It's
this
coming
way.
around the corner.
So Tom, are we done with the slides?
We're done with the slides and we're done with the presentation. I have always felt that any meeting or training under an hour is good. Because we don't want it to get too boring.
Thank you,
Thank you
Tom.
for that.
Thank you.
I learned
Thank
there's
you
a lot
all. If
to
you
learn.
need something, you have my number.
Thanks, Tom.
Tina,
Thank you.
did you have
Thank you,
something?
Commander.
No, I said I learned that there's a lot to learn.
Yes.
There's a bunch, that's for certain.
On board tonight?
Thank you.
Well, God bless everyone. Stay well, and I hope to see you at the Commander's Department Convention this year. Ought to be a barn burner.
It will.
Okay,
right, well-
folks, thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank-
Commander. Thank you, Annette.
Thank you, Tom, for coming on tonight and teaching us about VA&R. I appreciate your workings on this and helping to get the word out and getting us trained on it. So thank you again.
Level one. We have a
Level
whole lot more to share. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Annette, good job.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything? No? Okay, well then, I'm going to just say thank you to everybody. And if you have any topics that you'd like to have discussed on these trainings, please let me know. And we'll work to get some of your questions answered and some of your topics discussed. And we do have training coming up in May. So that's the third weekend of May. So if you have any topics you'd like to have presented at that time in person, please let me know and we'll work to get it on the schedule. And with that being said, I'd like to say thank you to everybody and I hope you all have a good, oh, pardon me. Tom, did you have something else?
No, I'm fine. Thank you, Annette. Appreciate your help.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Okay, and if no other questions, then I'll go ahead and close this out tonight and see you all in 2 weeks.
Adios.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.